برحمتك يا رحمن. مواعظ أمير المؤمنين عمر رضي الله عنه. موعظته لرجل. أخرج الدينوري عن عمر رضي الله عنه أنه وعظ رجلا فقال: لا تلهك الناس عن نفسك فإن الأمر يصير إليك دونه، ولا تقطع النهار ساربا فإنه محفوظ عليك ما عملت، وإذا أسأت فأحسن فإني لا أرى شيئا أشد طلبا ولا أسرع دركة من حسنة حديثة لذنب قديم كذا في الكنز. وقال: وضع عمر رضي الله عنه للناس 18 كلمة حكم كلها: ما عاقبت من عصى الله فيك بمثل أن تطيع الله فيه، وضع أمر أخيك على أحسنه حتى يجيئك منه ما يغلبك، ولا تظنن بكلمة خرجت من مسلم شرا وأنت تجد لها في الخير محملة، ومن عرض نفسه للتهم فلا يلومن من أساء به الظن، ومن كتم سره كانت الخيرة في يده، وعليك بإخوان الصدق تعيش في أكنافهم. SubhanAllah, what an amazing chapter. We learn about reading the malfudat of the pious and how effective that is. Most certainly, definitely indeed. But imagine Sahaba Kiram ke malfudat. Imagine the utterances of the best of people. What advices they would give people on different occasions, in different scenarios. What they uttered, what they said. And this is a chapter that every one of us should study and read and make mutala'ah of, because there's so much of islah and reformation and guidance in this. Like a man comes to Abu Darda radiallahu anhu asking for advice. So how beautiful. He said, if you see anything in its glitz and glamour, فَانظُرْ إِلَى مَاذَا يَصِيرُ, don't take effect from it. How will it end up in years to come? فَانظُرْ إِلَى مَاذَا يَصِيرُ. Imagine how amazing. Even the best meal, kaisa nikalta hai? How does it come out from our stomach? The most beautiful conveyance, what is the outcome of it? Years to come. The model is old. Even the best phone, few months later, it's outdated. So Abu Darda says, whatever it is of this dunya, it comes from turab and it will return to turab. Turab is mitti, soil and sand. So this chapter is the advices of Hazrat Umar. So Hazrat Umar advised someone. He said to him, don't let anyone take you away from your goal, your purpose. Because you have to answer by Allah. They're not going to answer for you. فَإِنَّ الْأَمْرَ يَصِيرُ إِلَيْكَ دُونَهُ. And then he says, don't waste your day. Because our every action is being calculated and watched and written down. وَإِذَا أَسَأْتَ فَأَحْسِنْ. Whenever we make a mistake, immediately thereafter do a good deed. Meaning, it doesn't mean we made a mistake, now we must give up doing good deeds. No, I can't do this good because I did so much of wrong. No. Even though we did lots of wrong, immediately do good. Whenever Allah puts the good in our tawfiq in our heart, immediately do it. Shaitan will trick us. No, don't go because of the wrongs that we did. Allah is merciful. Allah sees little actions and accepts us. Allah's name is Shakur. Allah appreciates. When we try, when we endeavor, Allah increases it, Allah appreciates it, Allah accepts it from us. But shaitan will trick us. Do not go there. Do not do this good, because what people will say, now out of the blue, you coming there. And that's also a lesson for us. Even someone who doesn't come, and the day he came, don't make him feel out of place. That, oh, you lost your way today. See, this utterances of the tongue is so deadly that according to scholars, actually, it has that harm we cause to a person's heart, how we made him feel, can hurt him. So there's two lessons here. One is we shouldn't harm people and chase them away. The other is when people do this, Quran said that they will do it. We must still do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because shaitan tricks us through two ways. One is riyah, when we do the action for makhluk, that is showing off, that's not acceptable. But look at shaitan's treachery. How he tricks us. Sometimes he'll want us to leave the action because of what people are going to say. No, rather don't do it, because people will start praising you. So how intricate is the situation that we are in. All the time we need Allah's help. Many a time shaitan won't want us to do something nice, something good. He'll hinder us because of what might happen. What if people say something? What if people comment? That is shaitan tricking us. See what Allah teaches us in the last two chapters of the Quran. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ Chapter 113 and 114. Say, Allah says, Allah is teaching us to make this dua. قُلْ أَعُوذُ Allah, I seek your protection. بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ In the Lord of daybreak. And falaq also means all the makhluqat. Allah, you made everything. بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقِ Save me from all harmful things. وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ Different avenues of harm. Save us from that. The next chapter, we seek Allah's name thrice. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ 3 times we took Allah's name. And the avenue from which we're seeking Allah's protection is one. In the previous chapter, we sought Allah's name once from different avenues of harm. In this chapter, we're seeking Allah's protection thrice from one avenue of harm. What this teaches us? That one avenue of harm is deadly. I'll mention it to you in a few moments and seconds, inshallah. Sa'id bin Musayyib rahimahullah says that see these advices of Hazrat Umar. He said, when someone harms you, disobeys Allah concerning you, how should we retaliate? Obey Allah concerning him. If he treats us badly, we must treat people kindly. If someone was harsh, we mustn't be harsh. Hazrat Umar says he disobeyed Allah. Why must we disobey Allah? If someone was cruel, if someone didn't want to make salam, why don't we make salam? So he says the best way to retaliate when someone disobeyed Allah in the way he treated us, retaliate in a manner that makes Allah happy. Look at Abdullah bin Umar. He told one of his slaves, a slave. For our understanding, look at a servant, a helper, staff. But a slave you own in those days, unless you freed him. He told him, do this for me. He went, he returned. That slave didn't carry it out. So he asked him, but why didn't you do what I told you? So the slave tells him, because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to do what you tell me to do. So as Abdullah bin Umar was about to get very upset, and you and I face situations like this in life. We get so upset that we want to actually finish off this person. But we learn something very pertinent and important. As Abdullah bin Umar pondered, deliberated, thought about what to say, and then he reacted. So the mu'min's tongue is behind his heart and mind. He thinks, how can I make Allah happy? Then he utters. So he says, you know what? I free you in Allah's name, and I gave you some work with this horse. This horse is also a tuhfa for you. Because he thought, what will make Allah happy? So his father, Hazrat Umar, said, when someone disobeyed Allah concerning you, you obey Allah concerning him. And then he said, if your brother does something, another Muslim, think good. وَضَعْ أَمْرَ أَخِيكَ عَلَى أَحْسَنِهِ There's 2 interpretations of one's action. Rather interpret his action in a better manner, a more positive manner. But let's say a person is continuously harming us or looking at us in a bad way. What should we do? Hazrat Umar said, think good. And if we can't think good, you know what he said? Then rather clarify it with him. And what an important lesson. If someone did something bad, most of the time he didn't mean what we are thinking. His intentions were good, but we misunderstood it. Because shaitan whispered in our hearts and minds. That's why in the last chapter of the Quran, min sharril waswasil khannas. We know this dua already. It's not something we have to relearn again. Allah save us from shar. Shar is from the word shararatun, which means sparks. The whisperings, the fire. Allah save us. Quran says, the sparks of hell is like the size of a camel and like the size of a huge castle. Now imagine if hell is so huge. If the spark of hell is like a castle, jimalin kal qasr, the size of a camel, just is this the spark. And the size of a castle, huge sparks. Allah save us from hell. And Allah make us a means to save humanity from hell. But here, shar is from the word shararatun, the whisperings of waswas. Waswas is a masdar. Shaitan will whisper and whisper and whisper, and he will not leave us. Al-Khannas. Only when we turn to Allah and we take our protection from Allah, then Allah will protect us. But look at the emphasis in this chapter. Alladhi yuwaswisu. Again, even waswas is masdar, and it's the highest form of emphasis. Yuwaswis comes again. Fi sudurin nas, in the chest, because shaitan can't enter the heart. Outside, he whispers from outside. He'll only come in if we allow it. Yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. But which shaitan? Min al jinnah, from jinn kind, one nas. Because shaitan, how are people shaitan? Because shaitan uses them to distance others from Allah. So Hazrat Umar said, if someone does something, think good. And if we can't think good, and shaitan is troubling us repeatedly, go to the brother and clarify. And most of the time we'll find that actually we had a misunderstanding. This brother didn't even intend what we were thinking. And especially when we're going for Allah, when we want to do for Allah, and when we want to do this Mubarak work, shaitan will work harder on us. That's why under the topic of dawat, in chapter 39, Allah says, وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ. Definitely the devil will whisper. So while we're out, and we all are here for the ijtima', let's learn from each other. This work is about khubiyo ka len den hai. There's a report in Tirmidhi that there was a Sahabi, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was sitting with Sahabar radiallahu anhum, and he said, the man arriving now is a Jannati. The first day, the second day, the third day. The Sahabi narrating, remember Sahaba's names. While out in the path of Allah, we learn about Sahaba Kiram radiallahu anhum. Abdullah bin Amr bin As radiallahu anhum. The man arriving who Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said before he arrived was none other than, who can tell me? Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas. He came with his champal in his left hand. That's another sunnah we learn. Shoes in the left hand and also in the rack. Let's make sure we put our shoes in the rack, because there's elderly people, there's senior people. We're going to be harming them. They can trip, they can fall. Let's not cause taklif to anyone. So this Sahabi came 3 days in a row. So Abdullah bin Amr thought, I need to learn from this man. He didn't get upset, oh, why is he so special? What's so special? No. He's so special, let me be in his company so I can learn from him. So he made an excuse and he went to Sa'd. He said, oh my friend, I can't go home for whatever reason. Can I join you for a few days? I got no place to stay. He says, of course, I got a spare room, my family is not around, you join me. This Sahabi's intention was only to learn from his Sati. So while we're here, let's learn from the good in each other. If we look for the good, Allah will give us that good. If we look for faults, we'll find many, many faults. Like that one person, he was a scholar, he came to, the old days, he came to Nizamuddin Markaz, and he was very upset. He wanted to meet Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Rahmatullahi. What is this about this work that you're starting? That people who haven't learned must go in the path of Allah and give da'wah to people. So when he arrived at the Markaz, it was Allah's will that he got ill. And when he was ill, the khidmat brothers took him to a room, made his khidmat, took care of him, would bring for him meals, treat him, but repeatedly and incessantly he would demand, I want to meet Maulana Yusuf. So the person making khidmat says, what you worried? Just let's get you treated, you must get better. And every day this man is coming, seeing to him, cleaning up for him and feeding him. After some time, few days, he asked another person that every time this man comes, I asked him, I'm feeling better, I want to meet Hazrat Maulana Yusuf. Can you take me to meet him? He says, but he's in and out of your quarters all the time. He says, what do you mean? That's just the khadim that comes. He says, no, that is Hazrat Maulana Yusuf, rahmatullahi. That is the beauty of this work. That man changed his life, that alim. And he went to Hazrat and he said, I want to spend my life in your company. Hazrat said, that's not the murad. Every ummati of Rasulullah is a page of the Quran. And Allah has distributed the pages of the Quran throughout the ummah. And as we meet people, and we look in their good, Allah will give us the good qualities that they have. Let's finish this last incident as we were discussing. After 3 days, Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr says to Hazrat Sa'd, because he says, I noticed that this man woke up for tahajjud, but his ibadat was basic. What guaranteed his Jannah 3 days consecutively? Afterwards I sought his permission to leave. But I said to him, the actual reason for me being in your company was to learn from you. But there's nothing different in you that we are not doing. So he said, no, what you saw is what I have in me. There's nothing else. He said, no, there must be. He said, no, that's it. So he greeted him and he departs. But Hazrat Sa'ad called him back and said, there's one quality that I have, that I make sure I don't have any hatred or animosity towards any of Allah's creation. So Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr said, that is what I'm looking for. And that is what every one of us need to aspire to have, and is very difficult to acquire. Allah help us all to acquire this quality, to have a clean heart and to want good for each other. And what our elders say, the 6 qualities of peace and muhabbat. What we must do? Salam, kalam, ikram, hadiyah, dua, and ta'rif. These 6 qualities in the path of Allah will create muhabbat amongst us and our satis. Number 1, be first to make salam to each sati. Be first to make salam. Talk to each other politely, nicely. Ikram, make each other's ikram for Allah's pleasure. Give each other gifts, hadiyah. Give each other gifts, that creates muhabbat. Dua, make dua for each other behind each other's back. And then ta'rif, speak good of each other behind each other's backs. Allah give us tawfiq. Mashura is taking place, which is a sunnat amal. Mentioned in the Quran Kareem quite a few times. Please join for the mashura. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina. Oh, no. Mashura. After mashura, whoever wants, there is tafsir in the corner of the masjid on a Tuesday in Darul Ulum. We do one short surah every Tuesday. If you like to join us, 10-15 minutes after mashura, you can join us in the corner of the masjid. Inshallah, we'll do surah Feel today. Jazakumullahu khairan.